Hi everyone, Janie here. Welcome back to my garden. It is time for my December back garden tour. I have Jason here with me again today.
Hello.
So we are in the backyard. I just did my front garden tour. It's looking really good. The backyard's looking really good as well. You can see that I am quite cold today. And now I know I'm a Californian. I have very warm blood, but I'm still cold today. So let's get started. We are going to get started with the greenhouse. This is my Triumph Orangery greenhouse from Canopia. I love it. And I have to say, I'm getting really impressed with how well it's keeping in the heat, because Jason actually installed the heater that we got for it, but we actually haven't even had to use it yet. And we've gotten down to freezing temperatures. This is the heater that we have right here. It turns on. We have we actually installed a PVC pipe underneath the greenhouse when we installed the footing for this greenhouse. And so we were able to run the extension cord through the PVC pipe and up and into the greenhouse. But as you can see, everything is looking so good. I've even got some pelargonium flowers blooming. I have some tomato seedlings that I'm going to start hardening off. They're ready to start hardening off. And I'm going to be putting them in this metal raised bed from Edge Right and see if I can grow tomatoes in my greenhouse this winter, which would be really fun. We have a hackberry tree. Well, actually, my neighbors have a hackberry tree over there, and I have a Chinese pistache over there right by the chicken coop, and they've both finally lost all of their leaves. So we're getting a lot more winter sun in this greenhouse, which is kind of one of the greatest things about the placement of this greenhouse. Is in the summer, we have all the trees have its foliage, so it does get a little bit of protection. And then in the winter, when we actually want full as much sun as we possibly can have, all the deciduous trees lose their leaves, and then we get a lot more sun, as you can see. It's kind of late in the day, but you can see we're still getting a little bit of sun in here. So the greenhouse has been really nice. I still want to get a chair for in here so that I can sit and I can film videos and I can hang out in here. I just haven't picked one out yet. I just need to go and do that. I am a little too busy with holiday shopping at this point. Over here you can see Jason brought in my potting bench. I actually made this potting bench myself along with my other potting bench. I'll show you that behind my office in a little bit. I'll link to the videos where I made this. It's just made out of 2x4s. I love it. I have to say it's super useful. And my goal is later this winter to make more of these to kind of surround the whole greenhouse so I can have more of these potting benches. I put my mangave on them because I wanted to do kind of a pot up of my mangave. It's just another thing I haven't gotten to. I have two kids, 9 and 11, and we do a lot of Christmas activities. So December is always a little crazy for us. Like later today, what are we doing, Jason?
We're gonna go see Christmas lights
We're
today.
gonna, yeah, we're gonna, and we live about 20 minutes away from Sacramento, California, and they have a Christmas light display kind of neighborhood. It's beautiful. It's called the Fab 40s. So we're going to do that. So it's just kind of a list of fun things that we're doing, and so stuff like this kind of gets pushed off to the bottom of my list, but that's okay. So let's come back outside. I want to show you guys. I did clean up my little ollie olive trees that I have potted in these pots on either side of the greenhouse. I did have a bunch of supertunias and a bunch of dichondra silver falls. I finally cleaned it up, which I think is a really good thing. I think that they needed it so that I can decrease the amount of water that I'm giving to them. And I think I'm just not going to water them all winter long because, of course, olive trees don't need that much water. And these guys are pretty established.
And they look really much nicer now that that stuff is out of there.
That stuff is out.
Yeah.
It was kind of getting a little scrubby.
It was.
Yeah, it's just that time of the year where it's like either you have a little bit of color left on your annuals. Do you want to keep it or do you want to clean it up? You know, it's a hard decision to make, but I cleaned it up and I'm really happy I did. On either side of the ollies, I have my my asymmetrical standard roses.
Why do they look that way?
Why do they look this way? That's a big question. So Jason was being helpful and he pruned one of them and he didn't prune the other one, and we didn't know, or I didn't notice for a while. And then finally I said, why is that one so much bigger than that one? And then you told me.
Well, there was a reason, like one had a bunch of spent blooms on it. That one
Yeah.
had a bunch of spent blooms on it, so I was good and I cleaned it up.
You were good.
And
You did a good job.
the
You
one
just
over-
forgot to do that one.
Well, I didn't forget. This one didn't have it. That one looked good. It didn't have spent blooms on it, and so I thought it doesn't need to be pruned. Well, this is what happens when you do that. You have one really big one and you have one really small one.
Yeah.
So I learned.
That's okay. It's no big deal. It's fine. It gives it character.
Look at how good this one looks, though. It looks. The one I didn't touch looks great.
It looks so good.
So,
it looks
I don't
so
know.
good.
Maybe I shouldn't have even touched the other one at all because it looks great.
So the one thing I am dealing with these standard roses is they keep falling backwards. They haven't completely rooted in yet, and we don't have them staked properly. So that's something else you guys will probably notice is they're both falling backwards, and the soil back here is absolutely terrible. It's really compacted clay soil back here around the greenhouse. So we put 6 inches of compost on top of it, and hopefully that'll kind of work its way into the compacted soil. But right now, these roses are having a really, really hard time getting rooted in. And then you can see I have a Breath of Heaven, a Sunset Gold Breath of Heaven right here. And then over here on this side, I have one as well. And you can see how good this is looking. And this is actually number 2.
It is.
I've actually replaced this one already, and then you can see what's happened. So it's something there. If you look at the Google Maps, the satellite pictures of this house, you can see that there was like this whole pathway and landscaped area back here. And every time we dig back here, like when we were digging the holes for the posts, we kept running into pavers and different things like that. And so that leads us to believe that there's something underneath here. Right?
I'm convinced it's just the spot and that there's something underneath there that we just have to go down a couple of feet and find and pull out a bunch of pavers.
Whatever's bothering
Whatever's
it.
down there, because there's a layer of concrete or pavers that's just not allowing this plant to do anything. All the annuals that were in that area did just fine.
Yeah, but they're much more shallow rooted.
But that's what I'm saying, exactly.
Yeah.
But this shrub that has to go deeper to be happy is just not.
You're so good. You're learning. Did you guys hear that? We're pulling them in. So one time could have been gardener area or error. One time could have been gardener error. 2 times it's probably just the spot. It's not a good spot for Breath of Heaven.
I'm going to get that big old digging stick, San Angelo bar, whatever you call it, and just go down hard a couple feet with it and see what I find.
Aren't you kind of just overwhelmed? It's like opening a can of worms, though.
I know, but now's the time to do it because there's nothing there.
That's true.
So I can make a big old hole right there, and it really won't matter.
Yeah. You want to know what else I notice isn't doing well? This center stage pink crepe myrtle right here.
That one, yeah.
Yeah, this one's doing really bad. So we planted 5 of them, 3 behind the greenhouse, 1 over there and 1 here. And this one, I mean, it's lost all its leaves. I don't think it's dead yet.
Yeah, I was checking it earlier today, actually, because it doesn't look good, but I don't think it's dead, at least not yet.
Yeah, but you can see the other ones back behind here are just kind of looking a little bit better. And I think, again, it's just this same area that we're dealing with. It's just not, I don't know, something's going on here, and I kind of just don't want to think about it. Is what it is. It's overwhelming to me, is what it is. And then coming over here to my cut flower beds. This month I finally got my sweet peas in, and they immediately look so much better. So I had sown these sweet peas quite a while ago, and it was just another thing that was on my list that I had to get planted. So finally I got them planted. I have 4 different types of sweet peas. I have Kupani's. I think it's called Kupani's Original, which is the perfect name for it because it's the same variety that they found on the island of Sicily, which are wild sweet peas, which I just love that story. And that's like, I've seen those. My mom has grown that variety. It's a really, really beautiful variety, and it's a really robust variety. And then I have another variety over here called Jewels of Albion. It's like a bluish violet. It's exclusive to Renee's seeds. I chose Renee's seeds for these 2. So I'm really interested to see that one and see how it does. And then coming over here, I have 2 more. One of them is, I think it's either Wilmot or Miss Wilmot, named after the famous gardener who used to spread her seeds everywhere in gardens. And so they named a sweet pea after her. So I have those. And then that will look very similar to the salmon I'm blanking on the name. It's like salmon romance or something like that. I'll put it on the screen right now. But basically, these are my salmon pink ones, and these are my bluish violet ones over here. And then I have like my rudbeckia, my onions. I have some more of my dahlias that are still doing okay. I pulled out a couple of my dahlias or cut them back. I'm leaving the tubers in just because we've had so many frosts already this year. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's been cold.
It's been really cold.
This morning was like a thick layer of ice on the windshield.
I know. I had to sit there and defrost my windshield wiper.
I had to do the credit card method.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
We live in California. No, we live in an area of California where we do not get snow, and we usually don't get that many frosts. But just this year, oh my gosh, we've had so many. So yeah, it's interesting. I feel like every year's something a little different. Did we do no, we did this last month, right?
I think so.
The solar lights. Yeah, I think we did the solar lights. I am loving the solar lights. Loving, loving, loving them. They're so wonderful. I can see them from my bedroom window, and it's just so nice to have some type of interest back here. Jason did put Christmas lights on my office, and Jason, you did a good job.
I did.
They look so, so good. So Fab 40s, where we're actually going tonight, there are so many beautifully decorated homes. And one of the things a lot of the homes do is they double up on their icicle lights and their big lights, the big Christmas lights. And so I asked Jason to do that this year, and he did, and it looks absolutely beautiful. Come show them in front of my office here. Should we plug them in? Is it dark enough, you think?
You might be able to see
Let me try and plug them in.
Yeah, you can
Maybe a little bit?
Kind of sort of see on camera.
Not really.
A little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. So in front of my office, what I did this month is I added a whole bunch of evergreens. So I was looking at pictures of in front of my office earlier this winter or this past winter, and there was just nothing there. It just looked like it was nothing. And so I really wanted to focus on getting some winter interest in front of my office. And I was at a big box store, Home Depot, and they had all these living Christmas trees, which are just evergreens basically, and they all had bows on them, and they were all pretty good prices. And so I just grabbed a whole bunch of them, potted them up, and I'm really, really happy with how they look. I have a Eugenia topiary that's looking really good. I have a Norfolk pine right here that is actually only hardy to zone 10, and I keep thinking it's going to die, and it's doing absolutely fine. Arborvitae over there, Leland cypress over here. Just really, really pretty stuff, and it's just been really fun to have in front of the office, and it doesn't make me, it gives me something to look at in front of my office when there's nothing else here, because all summer I had a ton of annuals in front of here, and I got used to that look. I like a lot of stuff in front of my office right here, and I was getting used to that look, and then taking them out, it was really sad. So filling them up with these living Christmas trees was perfect. And then probably what I'll do is I'll probably transplant these throughout the garden into other places, of course. So over here, my October Glory maple finally lost all of its leaves. This tree is just so fantastic. I love it. I did have 2 leaders going up, and I pruned off one of them. So now I only have a single leader. It looks kind of funky, but it's going to grow a lot better, and it's going to be a lot better shape in the long run.
It's kind of funny. It's still got some leaves on the very
top. Does it? Oh, you're right. It does.
Isn't that funny?
It is funny.
Just on that one spot.
It does look kind of silly. But anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful tree. Even the stems have a little kind of a red tinge to it. And I really love it. I think it's beautiful. Let me take you over to the Vigo garden beds over here. I had to clean these up. I did have a whole bunch of purple hyacinth bean growing up and over them, but the frost got those like right away. It was one of the first things that they got. So I cleaned them all up. They look all nice and clean now. We have not gotten all the leaves from our Chinese pistache just because there's still a little bit left, but we will get these eventually. But Jason was saying
I kind of like the look of all the leaves, actually. Yeah. I don't know.
You know what it reminds me of?
What's that?
It reminds me of when we got Monty. Because I have pictures of him
in the leaves.
Playing in these leaves.
Yeah.
I think that was only a year ago.
I know.
God.
But yeah, the leaves, they're almost gone, right? So
Yeah.
we'll be able to start cleaning them up once they're all. I just don't want to do it twice.
No,
Like
I
once
don't
they're all
either.
down, then we'll take care of it.
I know. I don't. We gotta do the gutters again too.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean
It's called the royal we.
the royal we. So in these two beds, I planted my ranunculus, and I'm really excited about my ranunculus this year because I actually invested in some really nice ranunculus this year. I got a whole bunch of different varieties. I got an Italian variety, a couple Italian varieties, a couple French varieties, and then also some Japanese varieties. Butterfly ranunculus, and butterfly ranunculus are really interesting. They are single petal as opposed to like have multiple petals, and they have this waxy look on the petals, so it almost makes them look shimmery. But you can see how well they're doing. They've all sprouted and they're all starting to grow. And here, anyone, I think it's zone 7 or zone 8, you can fall plant your ranunculus. And when you fall plant your ranunculus, they're going to do really, really well. So I'm excited to see which ones basically perform the best. Right now, the bonbons are performing, like they have the most foliage on them. They're looking great. And the Ariadne, the butterfly ranunculus, are looking not as great, but it'll just be interesting to see once the flowers actually come what are the best ones. But I have heard from other cut flower growers that like if you actually get really good ranunculus corms, you're going to notice a difference. So I will keep you all updated on how these ranunculus are doing, but so far I'm really, really happy with them, and I'm excited to see how they do. Coming over here, I have some carrot seedlings that didn't germinate amazingly, unfortunately, but they're enough that I think I'm just not going to have to thin them, which is nice. So they will keep growing. And then back here is just a whole bunch of kind of like storage. Like we have a flowering maple back here. I have a hydrangea back here. I have a bunch of hostas. This is a quickfire fab hydrangea. Just a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't really have a great place to put them yet. And, you find something beautiful like this at the garden center and you want to get your hands on it, especially if it's a good sale or something. So that's what I was putting stuff back here for, but I'm sure that I will kind of cycle it out once I find places that I actually want to put it. A lot of these are more shady type plants, and back here by the chicken coop, you can't even see it right now because of all the leaves that have dropped, but this is going to be kind of a garden bed that I'm going to be working on this upcoming year. This and over here, and we have a pathway coming out over here towards the chicken coop. And so we've already put compost. We're letting it work in because this was super compacted soil. And so just having that soil kind of improved a little bit is going to make it a lot easier for me to transplant those plants over here. So I'm excited about that. That'll be something that I'll be doing next year. This is my kind of dirty potting area, and I find myself using this area absolutely all the time. I sow my seeds back here. I repot things back here. It's, not the most beautiful spot of my garden, but I don't think it matters because it gives me a spot that I can make an absolute mess and then just kind of go like that and be done with it.
I think it works out great. I mean, there's that concrete pad right there.
Yeah.
And it's very, very functional for what you need it for.
Yeah. I use this spot so like more than anything else in the garden.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
It's very good.
Yeah. I would like some
I was just going to say that. We should find some way to hook up a canopy to cover that. I mean, the frame is there. We might as well use it. We just have to find a shade cloth or something. I don't even know what it would be. Something
where it doesn't rain because, like I had to empty this today because it had gotten some rain.
That, yeah.
Yeah, it had gotten some rain in it. So just something that it doesn't have rain. But it's so funny because when you move into a property, you can imagine what you're going to use and how you're going to use it. But you don't really know until you get into the property or until you get into your garden what spaces you're actually going to use more. Like, for instance, from here over, we thought this was going to be kind of like our junky storage area. We thought that we weren't really going to use this whole area in front of the chicken coop and the Vigo beds and everything. Like, we thought it was going to be like an extension of our garage, but because of the Chinese pistache and the shade of the Chinese pistache, I find myself on hot days coming over here all the time. It's just a really, really wonderful place to kind of hang out. And so because of that, I want to make this area like a more beautiful place that I can use in my garden all the time. And I wouldn't have known that unless I had spent this whole past year working in this area. So it's just kind of interesting moving into a new property. We've been here for a little over a year, and it's just interesting to see what places we use all the time, what places we absolutely never use, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's really interesting, and it's crazy how much I come back here and I use kind of this area. You know, on another note is our hose link. I ended up putting this hose link here, and we extended it with a hose. And I remember people were like, why did you put a hose link right in the middle of your garden? You know? And it was like, well, because there's a plan to all of this type of thing. And so like this hose we use absolutely all the time for all these areas, the greenhouse, the potting area, the beds, all that kind of stuff. So it's just, it's interesting when you actually get into it.
Can I tell you what I want to do? And I haven't even told you this yet. I want to take that post out, and I want to put in a steel round post so that hose link can swivel 360.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then
it can get over to the chicken coop.
It can just get any, because now it only turns, 180 degrees.
So it goes here.
Yeah.
Oof, and it goes there.
And then we try to pull it to the chicken coop, and you can't pull it as easily because it doesn't come out. You can't pull it sideways. Anyways.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be that hard to.
I don't think it'll be that hard either. I think
do the right diameter steel post and just pound it in and be done. I think it'll be easy.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing will be whatever you find when you dig a hole, whatever pavers you find underneath it.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah. You know what? That's a good point. I shouldn't say that anything's going to be easy.
Nothing's easy in this house.
Famous last words.
We are losing light fast.
We are.
So let me take you guys over here. So all along our beautiful fence right here, we have planted ballet slippers hibiscus. The ballet slippers hibiscus have gone to sleep for the season. And what I did is I came in and I planted a whole bunch of foxgloves, some apricot. Is it apricot delight? I don't remember.
I forget what they're called.
Apricot I'm so bad at remembering flower names lately. I don't know what it is. I cannot remember them. Apricot something foxgloves all along here. And so those are going to grow all winter long. And then I'll hopefully have some really beautiful foxgloves growing early in the spring before the hibiscus come out of dormancy. And I think that will be really, really pretty. And then I was debating on whether I might put some other cut flowers like delphiniums or something, the really, really early bloomers, so that I can have something beautiful with the fence as a backdrop before the hibiscus wake up and take over. But I really like having this really long border right here because, again, I hadn't had anything planned for here. And I got my hands on, 25 of these hibiscus.
I forget how many. It was 20 something.
It was a lot. It was a lot. Okay, and then coming over here, I wanted to show you guys the secret garden. The one thing that I did in my secret garden this month is I put in my December blooming garden. And I hope you guys can still see. It got dark fast.
We're okay, yeah.
Holy cow. So in my December blooming garden, I decided to use a plant called soft caress mahonia, which the soft caress mahonia is usually used as a foliage plant. It has this beautiful kind of ferny, fringy type foliage that normally in mahonia, it's kind of spiky and it has kind of thorns on it. But of course, appropriate with the name. This one doesn't have that, and it's nice and soft, so it's easy to walk up against or rub against and it won't hurt you. But in late fall, early winter, it does have these yellow spiky blooms that the pollinators absolutely love. So I had been wanting to get my hands on those, and so my December blooming garden, which is a blooming garden that every month I pick out plants that are blooming that month, and purposefully pick them out and put them in the garden. And then I also surrounded it with some cyclamen that's looking absolutely beautiful right now. So this is looking really neat, really kind of clean with, other than the leaves that are falling. But I'm really happy with that. And then my Pearl Maxwell camellia, I feel like it's about to the buds are about to break open and bloom because it's just looking so beautiful. I can't believe my begonias are still going strong. They're looking absolutely beautiful, and I'm just going to kind of leave them here until I see what happens. I can see a little bit of frost damage on them, just a little bit, but they're just going to stay there. There's a goat. I swear, every time I talk, they come over to me now. They used to hate me. They used to sneeze at me all the time. So goats will, when they sense danger or they sense an enemy, they'll do this thing where it sounds like a sneeze. And they used to sneeze at me all the time, and I wanted to get it on video to make like a reel for Instagram out of it. And now they won't sneeze at all. So,
you fed them once, and now
I fed them once. I fed them some apple branches that they were trying to get to. So, I have to point out this beautiful, beautiful hydrangea. This hydrangea just does so well with the dry. Like once it fades, it has the most beautiful faded color. And again, I don't know the name of this hydrangea. It was gifted to me, but oh man, it is just absolutely, it's stunning. I do have my false climbing hydrangeas here. They are kind of yellowing out, but they are starting to grow, which is kind of exciting to see. So I'm excited to see how they'll look next year. Again, this is one of those plants that really follow the sleep, creep, leap adage. And so I'm not supposed, according to what people say, I'm not supposed to expect much growth on these for 3 years. But if you look at that one over there, that one is starting to get some growth as well, which is exactly what I want on this big blank wall that I have right here.
Yeah, I noticed recently they kind of started to take off. kind of suddenly, really, because they hadn't done anything, and all of a sudden I'm like, wait, they're kind of tall.
What is that? Yeah, it's really fun to see. I love that. I love seeing things start to grow. So anyway, that is going to be about it. I think we're just about out of time. It's not even late. It's 4:40. Why is it so dark?
It's just cloudy.
Is that what it is?
Well, it's not even that cloudy. I don't know. It's just that time of year, I guess.
It's just so dark. It's just crazy. So anyways, that is the back garden. I hope all of your gardens are looking good. I've had a lot of you message me and say, my garden is totally dormant and put to sleep. Enjoy your rest here in California, and I'm sure in a lot of other warm weather states. We get a lot of stuff done in the winter. We get a lot of like the, I don't know, I want to say meat and potatoes, but the foundational stuff is kind of what I'm thinking of. We try and get a lot of stuff done, so we got a lot of work ahead of us, but it's all good. So anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today.